take a moment. This week's episode's really cut up. We actually ended up losing one of our video feeds. We just didn't record anything. Right now we're really operating on a limited budget. We have our Surface tablets that we record from, and mine was actually full. And so we didn't actually get any footage from the far camera. We were trying something new. Could have been pretty cool. I actually got lucky because Larry decided to use his Surface tablet. One of the things we've been using for the last two is one of these little lapel mics, and pretty cool. It's like $20. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of that audio. So thanks for the patience, everyone. We are working through all of this, trying to get it right. It's a short episode, but again, thanks and enjoy.
Why not? Well, because I gotta cut it, dude. There we go. That has pizza in my mouth.
I am too. I'm eating it right now. We're not supposed to film this stuff. You're not supposed to see us eat. That's what the boss said. The real boss.
Okay.
The secret boss behind the scenes.
That didn't turn out that well, but
It looks fantastic. What are you talking about?
well, I'm saying the shadowing. So these pins, they sell that light pen at Michael's.
Where?
I suggest that you give that 5 minutes. All right. So let's do some simple writing first. So we've never actually recorded ourselves writing, and I actually love us writing because we throw things back and forth. So without a doubt, my favorite thing about partnership with Larry is just what you can get out of it. If any of you ever choose to
Partnership with Larry.
partner with Larry, let me tell
You'll
you,
be a great company.
the creative engine never stops. I literally ride from station to station and wait for it to come back around.
Whatever, dude.
Whatever. Alright. Let me go through this. So, we don't get into details, but our Patreon got shut down. And luckily, we've done nothing wrong, and we're able to get everything straightened out with Patreon. We've been consistently creating YouTube content. We've been consistently publishing a webcomic, and
Our stance is pretty clear.
Go ahead.
Where we sit socially, societally. We are all inclusive. I believe Jesus loves everyone. And I mean that. Everyone. He came to seek and to save every single person. Doesn't matter color, creed, sexual orientation, doesn't matter. Anyway, so we're an all-inclusive. And so if you're trans or gay or straight or black or white or Asian or all of the above, you're welcome at Space Girl Writers. And I just can't stress that enough. The dream is a studio that's also a safe space, except for hate speech.
well, and that's thank you for digging
sorry.
into it. No. Thank you. That was a perfect explanation. We just want to do comics with people. We want people to tell their stories.
And be able to tell their stories.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just here to teach technique and help people publish. My personal dream is that looking back years from now, there's a bunch of people that have published, and we were a stepping stone on our way. And you know what? I would be thrilled if like people were just like, I made the best art there. I enjoyed it. I filled the whole notebook up. That is enough for me. I don't need this to be beyond that, right? So anyway, going to rewind a little bit. So our Patreon got shut down. We're actually doing fantastic. We're producing these sessions. We are on. This is the 12th session.
We ain't gonna stop.
We're not stopping. We're producing a really. People are giving us very positive feedback on the webcomic, and we're going to be publishing Larry's sketchbook. We've already got it in Microsoft Publisher. It's just really getting the rest of it together to publish. And so, having said all that, Patreon's back up and going. We're in great shape. Now,
And that book is going to go back into funding the dream of Space for Rockets.
yeah, and
So
so we if you're following us, thank you. We have the webcomic, and we agreed that it would be kind of the Garfield format. It's just going to be the 3 frames, and something like important is happening in the first frame. The second frame is like trying to explain it, and then the third frame is like always supposed to be mind-blowingly weird or funny or something, right? It's never serious. The third frame.
I'm the weird one.
Well, and so for this week, what we're doing is an emergency, and so let me kind of walk through that. So we're officially starting into the writing session. So Larry,
Oh no, focus.
well, I'm gonna look at this camera for a little bit here.
I must focus.
So we got to label the cameras because I'm going live. So anyway, so I followed a standard practice, which is I actually think that Anita Ekberg was a really cool person that everyone should know more about, and so I actually found some really cool pictures of her, and I'm using them as a visual guide for this character. So anyway, so the first image is she has her hands up and it says emergency, and we're gonna have this strobe light, just red beams going everywhere. So I'm sitting there looking up. Larry's looking up, and it says, "Hate attacked our Patreon." So that's going to be the opening frame. It's all serious, right? Follows the formula. And then the second one is her sitting there, kind of twiddling her fingers, going, if hate knew Leroy's creative potential and Rob's exhausting optimism. And so I'm going to have Larry running through there with this, beautiful pride thing behind him. He's going to have a paintbrush. They have a few paint cans in his hand. I'm going to be over here typing away with a big smile on my face on the computer. So that's the setup situation. And then the last one, this is our first 2-parter. Our last one, and you can't reveal that yet. Well, you can't reveal it. That's the whole point.
But
Read it.
I have to put on my spectacles. I'm old, if you didn't know. The Patreon is back online. We now have an even stronger presence, and Leroy created something amazing. To be continued.
So
I've got the idea in here, but it's going to be a canvas.
okay,
We're
coming back around on this one. I do think that he's hit some gold, and I think we're going to have it as our banner. So we'll talk more about this. I think for sure we'll have a mural of this in every studio, just to this is who we are. So,
Yep.
We'll take a pause. We're going to do a review of some writing notes we took for episode 2, Balanced Existence. So we did some preliminaries. I did some preliminary drawings. So we're going to do some more writing after the break. I'll reset it. So one of the things we regret not filming from a few months ago was we did some writing of episode 2. And it was pretty sweet.
We do regret that.
And so I've got the notes here, and I'm going to let Larry kind of read through the first of them a little bit, and then I'm going to show him kind of what drawings we came up with, and then hopefully we can get some green and red marks from Larry on some future writing. So, start us off, sir.
Okay. We start off with her as a child running through a field, right?
Okay, you ready? That was what we were given? I'll do it this way. We'll surprise him.
Here, I'll just pull this up and you can just do that.
Okay.
Okay.
So, what I was trying to do here is every time she steps, nature just grows from wherever she steps.
Yep.
And
Flowers,
so,
greenery.
this one is a shot from above where she's running and like all of this nature is growing behind her. But her parents have a fence, and when she gets to the edge of the fence, she hops up on it, and there's just desert beyond. There's just a rock sitting there, right? So,
So what happens is between that one and the next one, is she grows up
okay.
and becomes a voluptuous woman, like one of, well, actually the most beautiful woman to ever exist. That's what she becomes.
So it doesn't follow writing exactly here, so you don't have to reference it, but
It kind of does. But go ahead.
well, so if you look here, notice she's walking with a cart, but if you look carefully, she has her foot off the ground, so her heel is not touching the ground. And then she's going to enter this little area that has, on the road that has a well and
A way station.
And then this actually, we were talking on the phone about this. So she takes her hood off, and what happens when she takes her hood off, Larry?
The guy becomes infatuated immediately. Immediately falls in everlasting love with her.
Never mind, we're out.
And so
And you
then,
can actually see the wife's face and how she reacts right there. And it says here, man stealer, example. Women eventually get together,
we won't do that.
and we're not going to go, I won't finish the rest of that sentence. But women eventually conspire against her.
Yeah, and we won't actually necessarily go down that path, so we'll see.
We'll see.
So, but the cool thing is about the scene is you see her walking, you see the two people there, and then she takes her hood off, and suddenly the last scene is him carrying the cart for her.
Oh, I forgot I had this mic on. I bet I'm just crunching in everybody's ear.
Oh, that's fine. It deals well with it.
I'm sorry.
It's a good way to present everybody. So we're kind of going to show the same thing. So she walks up, she takes off her hood to the man with the horse, and now she's walking with a buggy and horse, and then she takes off her hood again to an army or a few people, and then suddenly she's riding a horse with them, and then she stops in front of another army. She takes her hood off, and suddenly they're carrying her to the governor of that space. And so, anything you change about this page? You gonna check your notes, sir?
I don't know if I want to say too much about that. He explained that good enough. You'll have to wait for the. You'll have to wait.
So-
I'm flipping that whole page.
Well,
You
so
don't
we
need
were
to
on
know
the
that.
phone back and forth. He gave me the idea of this, of like, it's just the same thing over and over again, and it actually makes for a pretty cool comic. And so I'm very happy about that. The next page. So what has she figured out so far? She knows her heels can't touch the ground, and she knows that like if she shows people what she actually looks like, she has some influence over them,
Some kind of strange influence.
specifically men. So that works pretty good until, and this is the magic of creativity here. I love this one. She goes to the governor and she does the same thing. She pulls off her hood and she thinks she's going to get somewhere. The problem is
He's blind.
he's blind. He has a mask. And then next to him, there's someone with an eye tattooed on their head. And that eye is that they are the eye for the governor. And so, what does it say there?
Oh,
He's got to get his glasses. Because we're old.
old. She is beautiful. She could enslave any man, burn her home, lock her away. Finally, I have a gift for the king. for
So
the king.
this whole page, in my opinion, is just fantastic creativity, just blossomed up.
It just,
sweet.
it just came up.
Okay, so this is really cool. These are 2 drawings Larry did before, and so I was able to bring those in, and I've just redrawn them. It's all done. And so we had talked about before their home would be burned, and she would end up incarcerated, and so that's in here. And so, any comments on that? You remembering all this from you? This is literally a 12-year-old set of drawings.
I think the whole point was to show that because they coveted her so much, they were willing to erase her past or any ties to her so that they could completely own her. Because she was so, she was worth more than money to them, more than any other person to them, more than any other object. But that's the problem. She became this golden calf, if you will, biblically, a thing of worship. She was so gorgeous that they just basically lost their minds. And so in order to hold her completely captive,
Right.
they would kill, they would pillage, they would destroy, just so that they could have her.
So we're going to explain that though, right? So
Oh, sure.
within the context of a comic book, we got to go explain that. So next page, and I will say this: I definitely went back to the original drawings and tried to bring that style back in because I've definitely changed as an artist, and I wanted to at least make it match year on and year out.
I've only become more insane as an artist, so there's that.
So we walk through this. Yeah, there's also a lot of narration from her, and maybe this is
Well, that goes back to the whole thing about where she's always talking to herself internally. Most of the dialogue you see that you are going to see is going to be her inner dialogue with herself. I mean, it's just constant. Anyway.
She hasn't got an answer yet, so we'll get to that. How that works. So, this one's pretty simple. Let's see here. I don't know if I can read it. I'm going to pause it. Can you read it? Because I can't.
Absolutely, I will.
I can't read upside down like a champ.
Said I was crying. I moved my hands to ask for help. The brutes glared at each other. A fight, almost instant. Both dead. No man can bring himself to hurt me.
So
this is the problem. This right here is the problem.
And so that is she sort of understood she had power over men before, and now she's been put in kind of a pinch point, and she's like, I got this. All right. So we're gonna move real quickly through the next image. In this one, they basically they throw a sack over her head. The governor's got it all figured out. He ships her out.
Yep.
And so, the big thing, the drawing at the bottom, and I'll have to hold myself accountable here. I didn't do much detail at the bottom. It's like there's a big city. She's getting moved to the big city.
It's okay. We'll get there.
We'll get there. And then, so there you go. So she's entering the king's district, and she's going to basically get to meet the king. And so they drop her off at the back door. And so they get her out of the carriage. They tell her to go in the building. When she's inside the building, there's a woman overseeing the kitchen. And she looks at her and says, "You get her dressed for an early dinner." Now, what's it say there at the bottom?
I had no idea what was ahead of me.
And so check this out. This is Larry came up with this in talking to me of like the visual part changes for you. And so if you look at the she's standing in straw, and she's getting ready to walk through a really rough rock wall, like boulders and stuff. But then it becomes nice bricks, and then it becomes woodwork, and then it becomes plaster of some sort. And so she's getting ready to transition from this world of peasants into the world of royalty. And so it's a very important moment in how quickly everything's happening. Because in theory, this is a day or two. And so anything to add to that bottom image?
Not really. When you encompass and you say how quickly things change for her because of the way she looks, and how even people who don't like her kind of give her up just because she's so gorgeous, so beautiful. They just kind of give her a pass almost. It's just like, when you find a perfect flower or orchid or, rose, you're like, and then you pluck it anyway.
Well, sorry. So, this is the last page, but I think it was a very satisfactory place to stop drawing. Okay. So again, she's meeting with the king. The king has all these people that are looking up to him or afraid of him, and so we got to do a few things in this drawing. We've got to show you how powerful the king is, and so we're sort of doing that with this big strong table, this big room, and there's some servants over to the other side, and we're going to do a lot with like what the people are doing at the table, and so you're going to see her walk up, and they're all like basically afraid of the king. They'll all be kind of down and in a subservient position. And then in that third frame, he looks over to her and sees her over there. And then the beginning of the bottom strip, if you want to read it.
Can I hold that for you? And she looks at him. And all the other servants are like, what just happened?
Because the king just broke like a rule of like who's in control here. So that's as far as we got. Where's that match up with how far we got in the writing?
Well, there's a little more writing, but we won't go into that because this is where it becomes, well, never mind. We'll just put that right there. Because the next thing is when another king comes into the picture.
Right.
So, a visiting king, and then things go downhill from there.
So we have a bit of a challenge ahead of us to finish out episode 2. We're going to have to draw some big battles and some big armies, and that's tricky to do, and do it right. Do it to where people, know that you care and that you tried.
Not like the end of the comic number 1.
Not like in the comic number 1.
We cared. We just didn't have any time.
We didn't have any time. We didn't have any energy left. So, how do you feel about that?
I love it. So far, episode 2 is comic 2 is going good.
Going well?
I wonder though when it's going to shift back to this comic 3 going to be the shift back to now, present time.
So the comic 3, we'll kind of go through that real quick. So the comic 3 was supposed to be where they had the kids kidnapped. It was at the end of the first comic. These kids are going into a museum, and the kids are kidnapped.
And the council.
And the council is, which, Foundation kind of did the same thing. I don't know if you watch Foundation, but the same actor plays all the ages of the ruler. and that was kind of the thing we were doing as the same person.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's fine. Going somewhere with it though is basically this third episode is going to show you how she's not a good person. She's going to get phone calls to stop the at her home to get a hold of the Great Hope to like stop this kidnapping, and she's just going to be like, click, So we'll see how episode 3 goes. Episode 4, he will be kidnapped by the aliens,
Finally.
and
Not that
they
he's
will
not an alien.
greatly regret doing that. But we'll see where it goes. Anyway, what else you got?
Nothing. Got nothing.
Thanks for tuning in. This was a pretty light session. We just want to go over where we're at, and we want to keep making content. So,
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Wait. First of all, anyone who's watching, thank you. We're coming to the end of the year, so we'll say Merry Christmas. Hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season. Happy New Year, safe New Year. Designated drivers, I'm just saying, Uber.
covering your mic.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm covering my mic because I was chewing. I didn't mean to. Anyway, I'm sure
right.
something picked me up. But we love you. Thank you for a wonderful year. And Space Guard Rocket's going to be doing a whole lot more in 2024. So
Without a doubt. And
only you can do your art.
only you can do your art. And again,
Thank you.
be, belong, thrive, and create. And we believe that, and we're going to do everything we can to make that stereotype
Peace, love, and light.
take place. Peace, love, and light. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching.